Hello and welcome to With Winning in Mind. I'm Troy Basham, along with Lanny, the founder of Mental Management Systems, and we're having a pretty in-depth discussion on just how does a person train and build confidence at the same time? Because most people don't know how to build confidence while they're training. They're basically just working on skill. And you brought up the point, well, you're not going to get as good as you need to be if you're not training the mind and the body at the same time. So break down the three elements right quick, and we'll have a discussion on how we can help people build confidence, create the self-image they want to have, so when they could compete, they'll do it better than if they weren't doing these techniques.
Well, there are three things that you can do when you train. There's only three things that you can do when you train. You can train for feel, which means that you're trying to get the feel of what does a good shot feel like, which is primarily a physical action. You're actually training the body, and not so much the mind, but you're training the body. You're pulling a ball, hitting a ball, putting a ball, hitting a ball, trying to get the feel of it, trying to make the feel correct and subconscious. That's called training for feel. There's less mental process being done there.
So what is the specific focus on that training for feel? Because we do want to occupy our conscious mind in a productive way, but we're focused primarily on the technique. Is that what we're?
Well, I think your focus is on technique, but I still believe, what part of the mental program should you use? I think that you should at least use the point of focus of your mental program. The point of focus of the mental program should be the same. And I think that even when you're trying to do a training for feel, I recommend my clients reload after the shot, so that they're mentally correcting error and they're reinforcing success. So you're doing point of focus and reload after each attempt. But the reason why you're doing repetitive attempts is trying to get the feel of that shot and making it more subconscious.
So it really depends on where the person is in their development as an athlete. If we're talking about someone who's more of a beginner to kind of intermediate level, they kind of know what to do, but they don't have a grasp of how to do it correctly on a consistent basis. Training for feel is going to be more helpful for them. Once I get to where I'm intermediate and getting more advanced, if you're playing golf, that'd probably be somebody, I would say that's somebody who can shoot in the 70s on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
If you're shooting in the 70s on a consistent basis, you know what you're doing in golf.
Sure.
And I say legitimately, by the rules, not cheating, like some of us do just to kind of help out. But if we're doing it in that area, what you're suggesting is we are going to be developing a mental process at that point. We need to be incorporating some of that in the training for feel. Even though we're focusing on technique, we can still do a version of our mental process. Once we get to the elite level, like your professional athletes, they're probably doing a lot more training for the shot, where they're stimulating their mental and technical on the driving range, just like they're going to do in a tournament, more than just hit and shot over and over and over.
Yeah, the difference between training for feel and training for the shot is that in training for the shot, let's say you're on the driving range, training for the shot, you would change the target between every ball that you hit, so that your strategy would change. You execute your strategy, your reinforcement, your commitment step would be incorporated into your full-blown mental program, full reload. So you would be running the entire mental process at the same way that you would be doing on a tournament. You would just be repeating that over and over and over again. You would be staying with the same type of shot, but you would be probably changing the target. You may be changing the club, but the same type of shot over and over again. But trying to simulate the totality of your mental process and your technique for that particular type of shot. That's what training for the shot is. Training for the round is simulating a tournament. So you go play 9 holes or play 18 holes. So when that type of shot occurs, it occurs more like it would be in a tournament. You're simulating a tournament.
Yeah, and in golf, if you're on a high school team or a college team, this is pretty much done. They call it qualifying. They'll have their players qualify maybe 2 or 3 days, playing either 9 holes or 18 holes, depending on time, and they count that to decide, okay, who on the team is going to go play for score. So they can use those qualifiers as a training for the round. But for those who aren't, you need to have a specific time during the week that you're setting out to play a round of golf for score, mimic the same strategies and mental process that you are in a tournament. You can't just go to the tournament and implement your routine if you've never trained it.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do. One thing I add to your training for the shot that I recommend the younger high school, collegiate level athletes that you're not real little, but I say younger, high school and collegiate level athletes. I have them do 2 different drills, and this works really good in golf. It'd be interesting to see what you think in sporting clays and the clay shooting area, if it would work in that area. I have them hit 25 balls, and they have to run their full mental process. So they have to run their full mental and technical routines, if you will, together. So they're doing the preload, the mental program, and the reload on each and every shot. One I call the 5-ball drill. And I actually stole this from you when you used to tell us to do group shooting. You always had group shooting at 5 shots. I'm like, why 5 shots? He said, well, if you get 5 shots, you see a little hole in there and you got a 50 out of 50, then you can run 5 10s in a row. Well, if you run 5 10s in a row, then you can run 10 10s in a row. So it's a way to build confidence, a way to increase the self-image. So what I have the athletes do is, okay, you're going to go to that target. You're going to run your whole process 5 times at that target, but when you finish the first one, after you reload, you pull a second one, you go back to your starting point in the preload. So the target stays the same, but what we're trying to do is trying to see if you can replicate. Well, 99% of the time, by the 3rd, 4th, 5th shot, they're dialed in on their target. So from a confidence standpoint, they're like, oh man, I got this shot. But it doesn't quite simulate to the round, to the golf course. So what I have them do an alternate drill, 25 balls, but now you have to alternate targets. You can't hit the same target back to back. You have to switch targets because that's what you're going to do on the golf course. What I found is the 5-ball drill really helps with building confidence. Alternating drill really forces them to focus on training the preload more than anything else. And I find that a lot of players ignore training that on the driving range. They wait till they get on the course to train it, and they want to know why they're not making proper decisions out there. They're not making good course management decisions, that is. And then when it comes to rehearsing, they kind of go through this motion of a practice swing instead of really imprinting the feeling that we want. So that might be 2 things that you might want to consider your training if you are a golfer, is incorporating something that builds confidence at the same time you're working on mental, and at the same time, working on the area that simulates kind of a miniature simulation of a round, even though you're not on the golf course, you're on the driving range or putting green or chipping area. But looking at because we have a lot of people that do shooting sports, because that's our background. Mm-hmm. You think you could take that same concept in clay shooting?
Well, it works a little bit different in clay shooting, but 90% of it is the same. Let's say that you're a sporting clay shooter and you have a certain target presentation that's giving you trouble that you want to get better at, and maybe you shot in a previous time, maybe a tournament, and you had some trouble with this particular presentation. So it's natural for you to start with trying to figure out how does the stroke feel like? What does that stroke feel like that actually breaks this target? And so you would go to the station and in training, and you're going to shoot that presentation over and over again. And of course, we can do that. All we have to do is hit the right button, and the target flies. So if you've got somebody that's operating your target trap, you can simulate that shot over and over and over again until you get the result that you want. And that you're basically working on your skill, trying to get what does it feel like to break that target, and so it becomes like you to break it. And so now I know what it feels like, and while you're doing that, you're running. It's possible to run your mental program in shotgun, just like you were doing in a tournament, because your feet are in the same spot when you can run your mental program. So you can run your point of initiation, point of alignment, point of focus properly. You can reload after every single shot in shotgun, which is actually, you can do that in golf too. You can do a portion of your mental program. You can do the point of focus, and you can also reload that shot every time you hit a ball. You can do that. So once you get the stroke down, then it's better to go from feeling the shot to the station practice, where you would come back and out of the box, and you would run your preload, mental program, reload, just like you would do in a tournament. And maybe you'd run that station several times. And then it's possible in shotgun shooting for you to go back to a previous station and shoot the previous station, and then come back and shoot the station that you were practicing, and then shoot the station after the practicing, which more it's a simulation of a what we call training for the station, which is simulating. And so going from training for a field to training for the station to training for the round is the most effective way to train for a shot that you're having trouble with.
Yeah, and you can mix this up in your training. You don't have to just do training for field all day today and then the next day training for the shot. You can mix it up, but the order that I think you're hitting on is important. Is start training for field, switch over to training for the shot, and if you have time, maybe do a simulation of training for the match or the competition, or in golf, would be training for the round. Or you can do it during the week. Like I might I only have 2 hours to train, so I probably can't simulate a round in golf with only 2 hours. But what I could do is I could train for the field, train for the shot, break that down a certain percentage way, and then maybe Thursday or Friday, or maybe over the weekend, I can incorporate the training for the round part. You and I go out together and we play kind of a match play simulation, but we're going to treat it like it's actual tournament. So these are just ways that we think are very helpful in building confidence, getting the self-image of the athlete that's needed to be able to compete in competition under pressure. So when people want to know, why are the top-level athletes successful under stress and the other athletes aren't successful in stress, it's because they train these things in preparation. So when they go into a competition, they're trusting. Most people are trying harder in competition because they're not training properly in order to trust what they've trained. So hopefully this has been helpful. If there's information you would like to know, you can look us up at mentalmanagement.com, and we'll see you next time.